maybe he was, but oh, however. So I'm going to talk to you today about using umbrellas at protest. Now, there's a few reasons I've come to this point. The thing that really prompted it was a sort of Twitter conversation I had with someone who was saying they weren't very comfortable about the idea of using guns. It's not that they disapproved of guns particularly, they just didn't feel comfortable using them themselves. Just to put that in context, there's been some discussion in leftist circles on the internet about just kind of using guns for self-defense basically, and before you run away with any kind of fanciful ideas, there's not a big gun-toting Antifa militia out there, okay? It's really just discussion. And you've got groups like the Socialist Rifle Association attempting to reclaim gun culture from those boomer shitheads who want to be able to just shoot people for being in their presence while black. And good luck with that. You know, you look at American gun culture and that's not a good look for the gun. It's very off-putting. I personally have been very off-put by it over the years. I'm so much more comfortable with other weapons. But it'd be kind of ridiculous for me to try and say you shouldn't use a gun when I'm so comfortable with all sorts of other weapons, which can be quite dangerous. Although, you know, guns are very dangerous. You don't want to try and use them if you're like scared or you're not confident. You don't really know what you're doing. So you want, you know, some people want alternatives, and this person was saying they'd like to be able to, you know, maybe get into martial arts again, learn to use a short stick, something like that. So, I don't know shit about guns, but I do know about other weapons like short sticks, or more specifically, the umbrella. Now, the reason I'm going with umbrellas is that I've seen a lot of umbrellas at protests in the US, and the reason for them, I know, is to protect against tear gas, but they can do a lot more than that. Now, there's quite a history of using the cane and the umbrella in Choy Lee Fut, the style of kung fu that I do. Oh, by the way, right, if you haven't been keeping up and you've been watching my channel for a while, my politics are way off on the radical left, okay? You really should have worked that out by now. This should not be a shock to you that I'm happily talking to people about defending themselves at protest, okay? Just get over it if you're being all shocked right now. You know, and I did spend a fair portion of my young adult life going to every protest that I knew about and could get to. I've been to quite a lot, you know, in my time, and the fact that I'm not doing it now is, well, I mean, I have been a bit, you know, there's been a few local BLM things and I've gone to them, but, you know, I still think I'm still happy to support other people going to protests and stuff. I mean, we don't have stuff like, police aren't like they are in the US, in the UK here. They can still be pretty bad though. And of course we do have fascists. So you can use your umbrella for other things than tear gas. Now, I think the first thing I should reassure you about is that, I mean, it's like one of the things that people were a bit worried about was that they're worried they're going to have to like train for years to be like some kind of super ninja. And if you want to be a super ninja, yeah, you do have to train for years. But you go to the average protest, the average fascist scumbag that you're having to deal with, they're not going to be a super ninja, okay? You really only need to be better than the person that you are up against, really. The likelihood is they're not really learning much, they're not really practicing much, you know, they might be watching Funker Tactical or something, but it's that they're not really going to be putting much effort into it. It's quite unlikely. But they are thugs, obviously you will need to defend yourself against them. But so there's this well-used phrase by Bruce Lee. The numbers changed slightly. So when I first saw it, it was Bruce Lee said that he was more afraid of the person who had practiced one kick 1,000 times than 1,000 kicks once. Sometimes I've seen the ratio 10,000 to 1, that kind of thing, but obviously there aren't 1,000 kicks or 10,000 kicks. But the point is, you practice one kick a lot, that's going to serve you well in a lot of situations. I'm not going to do kicks today, obviously, I'm doing umbrella, but you practice, like I'm going to show you some 3 move combinations, so it's going to be block, strike, strike. You practice one of those 10 times a day, or both of them 10 times a day, okay? It'll only take you a few minutes, you can do it in your lunch break really easily. Do that for 10 days, after that time you've done that 100 times. You're going to start looking pretty good when you do that, but you keep practicing it, and you practice it, and you practice it, and practice it. And the thing about learning Kung Fu, or what I do, any kind of martial art, you have to repeat this stuff over and over and over again. I mean, there are forms that I've done thousands of times by now, I should think, and there are forms that I learned back when I was a beginner, but I still practice now. You have to just keep doing it, but you don't have to learn like 30 odd forms. I mean, I've not got to 30 yet, but you don't have to learn all that and then keep practicing them for years to be able to defend yourself against the average scumbag at a protest. But if you learn one thing really, really well, that will serve you well in a lot of situations. So, umbrellas. Okay, first thing you need to do is look at the structure of your umbrella. Now this is a really old umbrella. I pulled the thing that does it up off earlier. But you can see it's got wooden handle, wooden tip. It's actually wooden all the way up. It's one piece of wood. That's pretty sturdy. Still not going to be good against, say, a baseball bat. This one doesn't have a hooked handle, it's just got that. And do it. Goes up pretty easily. It's got metal shaft. That's not going to stand up against a baseball bat at all. When you take it down, you have to make sure it's really in place, and then if you want to be sure it's going to stay down, you actually have to do it up. It's a bit problematic, so get to know your umbrella to start with. This is definitely not going to defend you against a baseball bat. When I say that, right, when at the first cane form I learned a single cane form 5 years ago in the summer of 2015, and it was a single cane form, bodied armour single cane form, and in that it's holding it either that end or that end. I don't think that's going to be very useful at a protest, so I'm not going to teach you anything that's comes from that. There is an umbrella versus spear form. I don't suggest you learn that either, because it's very unlikely you're going to come up against anyone with a spear at a protest. You might come up against someone with a flagpole, but they won't know how to use it. They'll probably be able to wave it around and ram you a bit with it, but it'll have a flag on it. I've seen them just waving these flagpoles around with the flagpole. They're not actually going to be a huge amount of use as a weapon, especially if they don't know how to use it. So you don't bother learning that. Also, the other thing is that so there's this guy Sifu Brian Cuddle, his videos I learn from a lot these days, and I'm a patron of his, and in one of his Patreon posts a little while back, he did a thing about canes and umbrellas, and he said that he bought a really expensive umbrella to use in the umbrella versus spear form, and what he found was that it broke the first time he tried to use it because it was this metal. So you kind of have to be very careful about this, about whether or not you think your umbrella is going to break, which is why I am not teaching you anything for any of those. Another thing you want to be careful about, when I say get to know your umbrella, okay, get used to opening it and closing it. Practice opening and closing it. Practice doing it up. One thing I would suggest, like this is kind of awkward because it's got a popper stud thing. Maybe sew Velcro, because that'll be do up and undo a lot more easily, so you can quickly open it and shut it. If your umbrella is one that's just going to easily open, well, you don't want it to do that, but the way I'm going to show you is going to be holding it like that, so it might not be so much of a problem. But yeah, practice opening and shutting it, because you want to be able to open and shut it pretty quickly, probably. You know, you don't know when a tear gas attack's going to come, and you don't know when you're going to need to use it to defend yourself. So you need to get used to this kind of thing, because you don't want to be fumbling around when you're actually needing to use it. Practice opening and shutting it and doing it up and stuff and undoing it. You'll be amazed at how well that will serve you if you're in a difficult situation. Okay. So, just to start with, how to hold your umbrella. Just imagine this is actually done up. Okay, what I'm going to say is, you should hold it, fingers around there, index finger there, handle flat, perpendicular like that. And then you would normally hold it so that it's going to go over your elbow like that. If you're walking along, that's going to stay fairly tight to your body. If you don't have your index finger there, it's going to kind of wave around, and then when you want to lift it up to block it, it's not necessarily going to be in the right place, it's not going to be very secure. So keep your index finger on it, it'll keep it in place by your side, and then when you need to bring it up to block with it, you can have it in place immediately, basically. So that's the first thing. You want to have it like this because you are most likely to want to, so that you can hook things right in front of you, basically. So, first few so I'm going to hit you a sort of 5-star blocking thing. So when I first went to Choy Lee Fut lessons, I learned this 5-star blocking, or stance, like this, and then with the left hand. Okay, so I'm not going to teach you it like that because you're facing straight on. You don't want to do that if you're in a situation where you need to defend yourself. You want to be sideways on. So I'm just sort of saying that for the benefit of people who have been in lessons. They'll be like, well, I don't know lessons. Yeah, that's for people who are, you know, potentially spending years working towards their black belt and they have to learn a particular curriculum. This isn't for that. I mean, not saying you might not find it useful. Maybe you're going to go off to a Black Lives Matter protest, huh? Pretty unlikely, to be honest with you. Anyway, so I'm going to do these sideways on. So, make sure you've got these in place. The first one, like that. There, this sort of angle. That. And then you're actually, with the fifth one, take your index finger off and across like that. Okay, so this is for if you've got someone trying to hit you from the same side. So this is my right hand, someone's trying to get you with their left hand. Yeah, they're punching towards you, or they've got a baseball bat or something. Hook that away with that. And then you can move forward to strike. Okay, so that's what that one's doing. This one, well, that's kind of blocking across here. You know, you've got quite a lot of block potential there. It's pretty good. This one is for anything that's going towards the middle of your body. Now, you want to have this sort of fairly close, like this. So if that gets hit, this isn't going to move back that easily. If I do it like that, you know, hold it out like that, even if I've got that there, that can easily go back here. So this is why I'm saying have it kind of fairly close, like that, rather than like that. So where we've got to that one, that one, that one. And then we have this one for anything that's coming up high from above. Now, you want to have your elbow up, hands down. If you have your hand like this, first of all, you can't see what's right in front of you. Second, that's going to hit your head. So somebody hits you there, it's going to come back and hit your head, could hit your nose, something like that. Whereas if you have it like that, so you keep your elbow up, your hand down, that's actually not going to, it's not, if it does hit you, it's going to hit below your head, and that'll be a lot better. So that's why you have to hold it at that angle. Make sure you learn these, by the way. Okay, so the fifth one that I'm going to do, like I said, you take your index finger down, swing it across like that. Now, if you were to try and hold it like this, that's going to be really awkward. You've got to make sure this is going to be above whatever's you know, you're trying to bat away. Oh, this is from the other side, by the way. So this is your right hand and their right hand. So anything that's from there, your right to their right. But yeah, it's kind of awkward to hold it like that, really. You've got to be sure of getting something there, rather than, you know, if you swing it like that, it can hit anything there and then it'll still hook onto there. You can't be sure of it if you have it at that angle. And also, if you put it there, it can just slide up. Whereas, you know, you could end up walking into it a little bit. You can't be sure it's going to go away. That's why you do it like that. So, practice these, okay? Don't just look at this and think, oh yeah, that looks alright, I'll be able to do that. You need to practice these. You need to do this like 10 times a day. So you need to do this kind of combination. 10 times a day, okay? Do it with your left hand as well. So, cross like that, and there, and then there. 10 times a day. And hopefully, you know, if you've got a partner or someone you would normally go to a protest with, get them to try hitting you. Not like really hard or anything, but you know, get them to try hitting you with their own like stick or umbrella or fist, something like that, okay? So that you can learn to parry, basically, against somebody who is actually attacking you. And this is basically how you learn. And then you'll have a much better idea of you know, where to do things, and it'll be less confusing, because if you're used to doing this to nothing and then suddenly you've actually got something to go up against, it could be a bit confusing. It's amazing how easily you can get confused by the slightest thing if you're in a difficult situation. I mean, like yeah, so do that. Right, now I'm going to go through a couple of 3 move combinations. So it will be, both of them will be block, strike, strike. So we've got left hand. So this is for the one that starts like that. And you've got your, so this is for your right hand going to anything from the left, from their left. Hand palm there at your waist, pushing up to the chin, okay? That's what you're aiming for, the chin. So, the other thing is you need to keep, if you're not actually using your umbrella, default position, keep it up. Keep it up here, okay? Strikes are, you know, anything you don't want to be hit from above. It's easy to drop your umbrella to block anything coming lower down. So keep it up here, okay, like that, and then there into the chest. So there, chest. Again, so you've got something that's coming from that direction, from the waist, chin, chest. And then I'm sort of by default putting my hand up here because that's how I learn. You know, again, it's for any further attacks. And do it again the other hand, because you don't know which hand your umbrella is going to be in if you happen to be attacked at protest. So you learn to do it with this hand. Got that. So that, there, chest. Okay. And chest. Now I'm stepping forward with each move. That's quite aggressive. Might work, hopefully, but you won't necessarily be able to step forward. It might be better to just not step forward after the chin thing and that, because that's still going to give you quite a lot of extension. This is pretty solid. So after that combination, whoever's trying to have a go at you should be fairly well destabilised. And if you're getting really good at it, so if you know you're going like, that's going to look really good, they're going to think, super ninja, better run. So, but you have to be really convincing about it, okay? And you have to practice it a lot, keep practicing it. Now, this is one for if your attack is coming from the other side. So, in my left hand, the attack's coming from the right. Now, for this one, I'm going to say turn round, push palm to the chest, and then down with the umbrella. Now, the thing is that, first of all, this flows better. If you try and do that, and then there there's a possibility of getting tangled up with your umbrella. You don't know that whatever you're trying to bring back, you know, like the baseball bat or the fist is definitely gone. You could be walking into it. So do that. Definitely not walking into it. You've definitely pushed it off that way. Chest, chest again. And then do it again with the right hand. So, again, there, and then chest. And you want to put that back up, put your index finger back up for your final thrust there. So you get good at these. Again, practice with a partner if you can. And you know, practice getting your partner to wave a baseball bat at you so you can push them out like that, and then do that and that, or do that and that. You practice them, getting them to attack you from both sides. Maybe if you like 10 minutes a day. See if you can do that for like 10 minutes a day. Won't take you long. Now, another thing that I wanted to do was point out that, yeah, so this has got a wooden handle, this is a plastic handle. They don't conduct electricity. So if you've got a police officer coming at you with a taser, smash down like that. Okay, so just turn to the side again, so because they're going to aim for your torso, but if you put your umbrella up like this, that's going to be quite protective up to there, and then smash down. That's going to hurt like hell. It's likely to get the taser out of their hands. It probably won't do them any damage. It might break a nail or something, but it's unlikely to do them any real damage, but it will hurt. Once you've got the taser out of their hands, run. Don't be tempted to try any fancy strikes on them, because they're not going to be very good at hand-to-hand combat, because they don't actually get trained that well in that. But they have weapons, and once you get a taser out of their hands, they've got other weapons they can reach for. So run. And also, you know, they can hurt you and disable you and kill you with impunity. You can't do that to them. And the fact is, if you start trying to actually really beat them up, and you know, not only will they pull their weapons out, if there's other police officers around, they're going to start piling in on you just run. Now it's going to take a few seconds probably for them to collect themselves once you've smashed the taser out of their hand, but you can get a good head start in those few seconds. You can get lost in a crowd in a few seconds, so it is worth just running. And it might be the same for, you know, some fascist scum that you've used some fancy combination on. So yeah, just run from the police at least. Now, like I said, you're not going to see what I've shown you in other videos. You're going to see a little bit in my double cane form video that I uploaded just a few weeks ago. But you're not going to learn that form. It's a very long and complex form. Now, in fact, where I got this from, this kind of method of holding your umbrella, and it's a very strong, you know, it's a very strong way of holding it because you've got good, you know, you've got good distance from there. And if you do need to poke someone in the eye or something, that's going to be relatively easy. What I got this from Jessie Encamp's side tutorial video. It's a short form, just about 10 moves long. Size, they're kind of shaped like this. I didn't actually have a side, I made one out of wire and gaffer tape. So they're kind of shaped like that, and you sort of hold them like that when you're not poking with them. It's kind of worth going there and learning that once you feel confident with these other things. And then if you do learn he shows you the left hand way and the right hand way, and it's a very good tutorial. You should learn it fairly well from that once you feel confident with all this. And if you learn that and you practice that regularly, then you'll become a lot more fluid with your movements generally. It'll increase your understanding of how to use your umbrella. So I would suggest you maybe try going and learning that. I'll leave a link for that in the description. It's important to be stable on your feet. That comes with practice. I did make a tutorial video for a Jiao Sang Ma. It's a short form which is just horse stances and cat stances. I would suggest that it'd be a good idea for you to learn that and practice that regularly. It will help you just learn to move around basically and to balance on one foot and stuff like that. It'll be really handy for you to learn that. I've also done a horse stance video which you could also look at, but the thing about horse stance is that, I mean, yes, it is great for strength training in your legs and being stable and stuff like that, but it's a long-term thing. It's not like you'd go and do that, look at that video and then do it once and then you'll be loads better. That's something that, you know, your horse stance is something that can take years to build up, really. So if you're interested, go and look at it, maybe give it a go, but don't feel like that's the thing you really have to do. Another channel I would suggest you check out is Shane Faison's Fight Tips for the Underdogs. He doesn't do weapons, he's into Muay Thai and MMA, but he does do a lot of these like combinations, short combinations of like punches, kicks, knees, and that kind of thing. And you know, once you feel confident with this, maybe go and have a look at his combos, learn one, practice that one 10 times a day for at least 10 days, okay? See how you feel with it, and then maybe look at learning another one. That could be quite handy for you as well. Oh yeah, it might be a good idea to oil your umbrella because you've got those metal bits. If it's a bit stiff, that might help you. You never know. But really try and get some sort of Velcro tie-up thing So that would really help. It's so much better than the average tying thing. So yeah, if you've got any questions, feel free to ask away in the comments. I will do my best to answer. I hope this is helpful for you. You'll have a good night.